The following is paid programming.
It's time to talk taxes.
New friends, new opportunities, new partners. EG Tax.
It's Ask the Tax Lady with Esther Gulius and EG Tax on News Radio 930 WBEN. To reach Esther now, call 803-0930. Toll free at 1-800-616-9236. And cell calls are free at star 930. And now, live from the WBEN studios, it's Esther Gulius.
Hey, everybody, this is the Tax Lady, and this is our hour to talk about taxes and what's new and what's going on with the IRS and what's going on with the state of New York. And more than anything, we want to help you. So if you have any questions, if your life has been affected this week by love letters from either the state or the federal, or you haven't filed your tax return, or you got any questions regarding some of the tax law changes coming up, now's your chance to give us a call, 803-0930. 803-0930, star 930 on your cell phone. I got Chris Fabian here with me. Hey, Christopher.
Hello, Esther.
Hey, Chris. And our Assistant District Manager, Tim Eliason, is here. He is also our healthcare navigator and medical insurance guru. And I will tell you, this show primarily is going to be geared around some of the things available to you if you don't have health insurance, if you're overpaying for health insurance. And Tim, I just want to thank you for coming in.
Thank you very much, and may I be one of the first to wish Happy Mother's Day.
Oh, thank you very much. It's a wonderful privilege to be a mom, and I have some great kids and grandkids, so thank you. Some things, though, that are coming down the pike before we get into all the health-related things and who's going to qualify and what's out there. First of all, you got to really listen with your whole head and don't pre-decide that you won't qualify on some of the things we're telling you, because, ignorance is the worst thing in the whole wide world, especially ignorance when it is available and you're not going to take advantage of it. So that's one thing, because Tim's going to tell you some stuff and you're going to say, nah, that's not true, but it is true. And he knows. And part of what you do, we don't charge anything, do we, Tim, for people sitting down and talking to you about the health insurance?
Nope, it's all free advice, and we just want to help.
That's right. And so it's a free service. But before we get into that, a couple things last week. If you're looking for high yield interest, the highest yield interest that I found was at Northwest Credit Union. And that's in Manassas, Virginia, and they're paying 3.15%, and that's hearty good. So Northwest Credit Union is paying 3.15% APR. Want to let people know that. And then the other thing is, if as these tax laws are unfolding, people are starting to get it like, oh, I can't deduct this anymore, can I? Oh, I'm an outside salesperson. I can't take my mileage anymore, can I? Oh, I'm a realtor. How does this affect me? And one of the big things is the pass-through. If you are a realtor, for instance, I'll give you one example, and you're making a $30,000 or $40,000 net profit, you're going to get a 20% pass-through that's going to save you. If it's $30,000, it's going to save you $6,000 in taxable income, and if it's $40,000, it's $8,000. So you want to make sure, if you're wondering about how this pass-through affects you, EG Tax will help you. There's no charge for that as well. This time of year, we help people with letters. We do tax returns. We do offers and compromise, which is
huge. I mean, that's a big thing that people don't realize. You hear ads all the time about it, and I don't qualify. There's no way. But it's a simple process.
If you have a balance due to the IRS or state of New York, and you don't have the money to pay it, trust me, you can absolutely have much, if not all, of that liability waived if you don't have the ability to pay it, by doing an offer and compromise. If you don't let them know, if you don't fill out the paperwork, then that balance due just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger.
Right. I would almost say it's almost like filing bankruptcy with the federal government.
Right. That's a great way to put it.
That's
a great way to put it.
And you got to, just like when you file bankruptcy, they want you to be good. Same thing with an offer and compromise. You have to be good for 5 years. So if you do it and then, I was good for 5 years, now I'm going to lapse, and then you do it again, they're going to eventually say, no, we're done with you. We're not going to let you do an offer anymore.
But again, if you're somebody that needs help get letters, you're haven't filed, you want to see how this change in the tax law affects your situation. Small business owner with net profits, we'll show you what to do there. Because EG Tax just doesn't go away during the off season. We're there to help you. And the other thing I wanted to talk about is, when I talked about the high percent, 3.15% from Northwest Credit Union. The other thing we want to talk about is some of the New York State really did change. It passed some stuff, right?
Well, they passed it in their budget.
Right.
It doesn't mean it's approved yet. Right. And, this one of you want to talk about making taxes confusing, the new employer compensation expense program, where people can voluntarily take a pay cut so employers can pay more taxes. So they get to write off the taxes.
So the employer would get to write off the taxes.
Right.
So I got to say that to my staff. Would you guys like to have a pay cut so that I can save tax money? I don't think so. But anyway, and then of course they're trying to get around that 10%, $10,000 cap and the SALT deduction.
Right, with the charitable gift trust funds, where you can up to 85% of your charity, quote, is going to be through your property taxes, is going to be a credit against your New York State income.
Right.
So that one, they approved it, New York approved it, but the federal government has to approve it. So it would be like the federal government saying, you know what, we want to do this on our right hand, and New York State saying, but we want this on our left. And the federal, okay, so we're going to contradict everything we're doing.
And it does contradict tax law completely,
Yep.
Again, I'm Esther Gilius, the tax lady from EG Tax, 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on a cell phone. Before we take a break, we're going to talk to Joe, and then we're going to come back and talk about health insurance. Hey, Joe.
Hello.
How are you, sir? Can we help you?
Yes, I just want to be corrected on the new federal tax law. So I take a standard deduction that's $24,000.
Are you married?
Yes, married.
Okay, all right.
Oh, right. Married, and then I had $10,000 of state and local taxes. Is that correct? So I have a $34,000.
No.
Oh.
The standard deduction is $24,000 if you're married filing a joint return. If you itemize, your itemized deductions have to exceed $10,000, of which part of it is the $10,000 SALT deduction.
Oh, okay.
Got it? In other words, the standard deduction on your left hand is $24,000 married joint. On your right hand, you want to itemize. So the first thing is, did you have medical expenses that exceeded 7.5% of your adjusted gross income? No? Okay. Moving on to taxes. Did you have New York State withholding? Did you pay property taxes? Did you pay sales taxes? If all of that is over $10,000, you're limited to $10,000, number one. Number two, did you have a mortgage that you paid mortgage interest on? And if you did, as long as the mortgage is under $750,000, or if you had a home equity credit line that you used to do home improvements, the deduction there would be deductible. So let's say that's $15,000, and let's say that you had $10,000 in SALT deductions. So that's $25,000. Did you have charity? Yes, I had charity of $3,000. So now we're $3,000 plus the $25,000, so it's $28,000, and there's no miscellaneous business expenses. No, there'd be gambling losses if you had gambling income. If there was nothing else, you'd have the $28,000, which is more than $24,000, and so you'd have a $4,000 benefit.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye. I guess that answered his question.
Yep. You know, the part of the tax law where you either take your standard or your itemized, that stayed the same.
Right.
They just made it a little bit harder to
Right.
take the itemized.
Right, and there's a lot, and that's part of where planning needs to go into there. Like, for instance, if you're not going to be able to take your charity anymore, and you're over the age of 70 and a half, and you have to do your RMDs, and you're a charitable giver, do the
qualified charitable distribution from your IRA.
Absolutely. All right, let's take a short break. I'm Esther Gulius, the tax lady from EG Tax, 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on a cell phone. Put your thinking caps on if you need health insurance. We'll be back on the other side. Hey, I'm Esther Gulius, the tax lady from EG Tax, 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on a cell phone. Okay, so Tim, part of what we did was when Obamacare was first enacted, and we knew that we had to tell people, oh, you're going to be penalized if you don't have health insurance. That kind of metamorphosized into a second love of yours, where you're really like the guru at EG Tax on health, all the different types of health opportunities there are through the New York State of Health and other sources, right? And so that kind of started you to start a little division of at EG Tax called EG Health Connect. So what exactly is that?
Well, I guess to sum it up in simple words, it's insurance simplified. What we're trying to do is sit with an individual and say, okay, what are your medical needs? How do you use insurance? What resources do you have to obtain health insurance? And then finding something that fits and that is affordable. I know part of that magic word that we started back in 2014 was the Affordable Care Act, which was kind of an oxymoron right out of the gate. But we wanted to make sure that people had, the resources and could look at different plans, both under 65 and now over 65, to say, hey, how am I going to take care of myself? How, as they move into later parts of life, that could be one of their biggest expenses is healthcare.
But a lot of people think right now, because we know that Trump said that the penalty is going to be waived for the shared responsibility penalty that was in the Obamacare thing. That's true, but not really right now, right?
No, that he signed, in fact, was one of the first things he did. He signed that executive order that was to repeal that portion of it. Obviously, they've been trying to repeal all of it, but that's where they tried to repeal it. It was also in the tax law, the Tax Acts and Jobs Act that they passed in 2017. But what the wording actually says is we will have one more year. So 2018, it will still be on the tax return.
Right now, if somebody doesn't have health insurance, and they don't have one of the exceptions, of which there's a myriad of exceptions, but they don't have the penalty still in effect through 18.
That's correct. That's $695 or 2.5% of your AGI or modified AGI, whichever is greater.
Right. All right. So that's really important. Now, the other thing is, what do you do if you're somebody that has modest income? Let's say you're a family making $40,000, one kid who doesn't make any income, and you have health insurance through your employer, and it's, let's say, 10% of your salary. What can you do? Is there anything?
You actually have the option to go into the marketplace and shop and see what that plan would be. You may be able to, because your employer plan will not allow you to get any of the subsidy or credits that you would experience through the marketplace. So if your health insurance premiums are greater than 10%, as you said, of your income from your employer, you would have the option to be able to go into the marketplace and shop to see if you could get a less expensive plan.
And that's kind of where you come in, because most people, when they go to the marketplace, well, some of the biggest problems I see is people that do it on themselves, and they underestimate their income.
Yes, exactly.
And so then at tax time, it's a tragedy.
Yes.
Yeah, well, also, I mean, I can tell you, I know I had a client whose daughter was 22, and by law, the parents get to keep her under the health insurance. Well, they did it through the marketplace, but this 22-year-old was out on her own. So they had health insurance through the marketplace. Parents didn't claim her. Her return rejected because they're like, where's your health insurance? She had it through the parents. So it caused this huge headache, right?
Exactly. And that's where you have to weigh that, because there are a lot of opportunities, for those kids that maybe just graduated for college. They could be on their parents up until the age of 26. But if it's effective where they are not on the parent's return, health insurance is based on a tax household, not who lives under the roof of the home, but their tax household. So whoever's on that tax return. That 22-year-old could have been off on a different thing as they're starting their career. They might have qualified for insurance that was $20 a month.
Right. And that's part of, and so that's where, when you're on the marketplace, you sit down with people and say, okay, here's your medical situation. Now, a young couple isn't usually going to have much of a medical situation, are they?
No, and that's where you can find plans that meet their needs. And, there's a lot of plans out there that you have to pick them apart. Is it a case that they really just have that annual physical and maybe they have one prescription that they do take? So you find insurance that meets their needs and does not expose them to any, major out-of-pocket should there be a major medical event.
All right. Now, if you have any questions, if you have kids that are maybe just now getting close to age 26, maybe you're yourself 58, 60, you are retired, you are looking for health insurance, you're wondering about what's available. You have free help right now for your health insurance. Give us a call, 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on your cell phone. We're going to go to Carol, who's been holding. Hi, Carol. How can we help you? Hello, Carol.
Yes?
Yeah, how can we help you?
Yes, I was just wondering if there's a tax credit for a disabled person. My husband is disabled, and is there any tax credits for that?
All right. Do you have children, Carol?
No, they're all older.
All right. How old is your husband?
61.
All right. Is he on Social Security disability?
Yes.
He is. And is he also collecting a pension?
A very small. No, not yet. But he does have one. But
okay. Because where I was headed was, if you and he don't have much in income, taxable income, but he retired on a disability pension, not a Social Security, then you would qualify possibly for the earned income credit because his disability pension is considered wages for tax purposes if he's under the age of 65. But that doesn't sound like the case, and no, there is no credit for being disabled.
What about also? We took out $11,000 out of the Scott Trade account this year and had to pay like $4 out of that. Is that normal? We were wondering about that.
All right. So when you're talking this year, you're talking 18 or 17?
17.
So in your 2017 return, you took money out of your Scott Trade account, and then what was the question?
We ended up having to pay $4,000 in taxes this year because of.
Okay. Did you have a cost basis, or what you took out of your Scott Trade account, was that from a pension or an IRA?
IRA.
Okay. So did they charge you a penalty because your husband was under the age of 59 and a half?
No, because he's over the age of 59.
All right, so there's no penalty. So the only thing that you had was the income.
So you had just the $11,000 and the Social Security? Do you have income?
And I worked.
Oh.
I had to quit because he had a stroke, and then.
Well, so Carol, may I ask what your wages run?
They were, I think, like about $25,000.
Okay. So when you consider your $25,000 plus the $11,000,
that's $36,000.
That's $36,000 plus your husband's Social Security, which became partially taxable. That really could have been the fly in the ointment. Now, did you take advantage of putting money into an IRA at all?
No, we took it out of the IRA.
I know, but you actually could have made a contribution to the IRA to help mitigate the tax liability on the back end, but it's too late now.
Yeah. Oh.
Okay?
I guess that's it.
All right. I'm sorry, Carol. If you would like us to, though, you can just email us your tax return, and so when I see real figures, and you guys can't itemize, correct? Do you own your own home?
Well, yeah, we still have a little mortgage, but yeah, we own our own home.
Right, and you didn't have large medical bills because your husband was ill?
Well, yeah, this past year we had quite a few.
All right, did you take a look at itemizing and taking your medical expenses?
No.
Okay, like for instance, did you have to do any kind of medical adaptation to the house to help your husband?
No.
No, so you didn't have to buy any special bed or put grip rails in the potty or anything like that. Do a ramp at your house to help him ambulate.
No,
Okay.
thing like that.
Now, did you guys pay a lot out of pocket this year? Are you paying your own health insurance?
He wasn't on Medicaid Part B until July, and then he had a stroke in August. So we had back bills because he had one before that. So that I'm still paying.
All right, and you didn't use that $11,000 to pay medical bills, correct?
No.
Yeah, again, if you want to bring it over, fax it over, send it over, email it over, we'll be happy to take a look at it, but it does sound like you just had enough to make your Social Security taxable.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yep, thank you.
Thank you, Carol. Bye-bye. I'm Esther Golias, the tax lady from EG Tax, 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on cell phone. And by the way, if you hear panting in the background, it's not Chris or Tim or me. But Chris brought his 120-pound St. Bernard into the studio, and that's Mia. Mia's panting. Right,
She's
Mia?
the tax dog.
She's the tax dog, and she's been in our commercials. So
Yes.
if you hear panting, doesn't mean we're really excited about the question. It means we have Mia in the studio. Anyway, we're going to take a short break for the news. We're going to be back on the other side with your questions. 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on a cell phone. And we'll see you on the other side. All right, this is Esther Golias, the tax lady from EG Tax. And whether you haven't filed, you owe back taxes, whether you're getting love letters, if you don't have health insurance, if you're wondering about how the taxes are changing this upcoming year, anything that has anything to do with your taxes or your health insurance, EG Tax is in your corner. We want to help you, and we have a special guest in studio today, Tim Eliason. He's our assistant district manager. He's also our healthcare navigator guru, and if you have any questions regarding your health insurance, if you think you don't qualify for health insurance because you're too poor, I mean, Tim has great news for you. If you're poor, you should be thrilled, right?
Exactly. There's a lot of options out there. I think that a lot of people don't realize the options that present themselves, both for themselves, their children. There's many different things, even retirees, those people that are trying to figure out how they're going to get to 65 so they have an option with Medicare. There's options out there for them that would keep them from having to spend all of their money on health insurance to get to 65 and get their Social Security and their Medicare.
And the other thing is, if you can't afford health insurance and you haven't had health insurance and you haven't talked to anybody, and you may find out that you qualify for the Essential Plan, you might qualify for Medicaid. And people that, especially people that know Medicaid, Tim, from the past, they go, oh, well, I don't qualify for Medicaid. I have a house. I have investments. I have money in the bank. Does that make any difference?
Nope, that's the old-fashioned system.
It makes no difference. Did you hear, Tim? It doesn't make any difference. You can have assets and still get Medicaid.
Yep, exactly. And that the way the marketplace application works, it never asks about assets. It's always based on projections.
Of income.
Exactly, projections of income. So basically what we're doing is, almost working side by side with their tax planning, because we're looking and saying, okay, for the upcoming year, what sources of income, what is going to be our modified adjusted gross income that we're going to have, and what does that qualify us for? Because, that allows them to do some tax planning. I've had people where and I know you preach all the time to it about making that contribution to that retirement account. I've been able to back them into $20 a month insurance by saying, okay, here's how much you're going to make, but how about we put $2,000 into a retirement account so that is still your money. It's not going out the door to the insurance company. It's still in your pocket. Yes, it is in an account where maybe you cannot touch it till 59.5, but now your insurance cost just went from $100 a month with a $4,000 deductible down to $20 a month with no deductible and insurance you're going to actually use.
And so they're saving $960 a year in insurance costs, plus the deductible, right?
Yeah, exactly. exactly.
They reduce their tax liability, and they get better insurance for $20.
And it's
Hello.
insurance they're going to use. I mean, they'll go see the doctor. They'll, and some of them they can now pick up components that they maybe didn't have even with their employer plan with dental and vision. Hey, I'm going to get those teeth taken care of. I'm going to get my eyes checked.
So I'm going to tell you, ignorance is not bliss when it comes to this health insurance thing. So some of the other things that are coming up, and again, 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on a cell phone. If your kids don't have health insurance, if you don't have health insurance, if you can even get assistance. Isn't it true, Tim, if you're over the age of 65?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. There's a bunch of different options there, with the different plans within Medicare. If you qualify for Medicaid, some of the plans, the premiums have components where, depending on your income, it will pick up your Part D prescription and pay for that. The Epic plan through New York State.
But if you don't know, then you are going to overpay. And so it's remarkable. Look into it. And it's a free service that we offer. And so, gosh, don't just sit there and say, "Oh, this can't be. This is too good to be true." There's a hitch. A hitch. There is none. No. We just really want to help you.
You want to talk about too good to be true? I want to say almost one of the new kids on the block is if you're caring for somebody on Medicaid,
yes,
then Medicaid will pay you up to 60 hours a week to watch your loved one. So, and Tim, you said that was 40,000 or 60?
It could be. It's called the Consumer Directed Personal Assistance Program. And obviously it has an acronym, so you don't have to try to say that all the time. But a lot of these plans are set up that, they're paying $13 to $16 an hour. You can be employed as that through Medicaid for up to 60 hours a week. So when you start doing the math, it's around $40,000. Now they do have, I have a client that is kind of an intake nurse that I do taxes returns for, and I started talking to her. She goes in, evaluates the situation, looks at it, and see is this something feasible that the person that's qualified for Medicaid can have a relative be the caretaker and the caregiver.
That's so cool.
And they get a W-2, not a 1099.
Which is really good for their tax perspective.
Yep,
exactly.
Because they don't have to pay FICA on it.
Yep.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's one of the big changes. We were talking about some of the changes coming up. Like, what is changing in the wonderful world of the New York State of Health?
Well, there's not a lot of changes with the New York State of Health. The one thing that they are finding nationwide is that the state-based marketplaces, which New York is having much more growth and continued growth than the places that are run by the federal government, so that they're seeing those. The other thing that the president did, and it kind of snuck through, and I've talked to some of my clients about, is they broadened for the association. So if we got 50 tax preparers together and created our own association, we could go out and buy insurance by going across state lines and finding the best deal. We're not limited to the county.
Does it have to be 50?
No, you just form that association.
Okay.
So, there's several associations
that do that. All right, so like full-time employees, let's say we have 8 at the office or 10 at the office, full-time employees with health insurance. So we can go to across state lines to get an insurance plan. Exactly.
That way that, they can go into marketplaces outside of just Erie County or Niagara County. So they have that option to go out and buy that. The other thing that's changing is, yes, the mandate is there, but starting in 2018, as I say, they're passing out more get-out-of-jail-free cards. What that means is they're broadening the hardships, those things that you can do to say that I didn't have insurance, the affordability. The other day, I was working with a couple that's thinking about moving to South Carolina. Myrtle Beach, that county, that area has one insurance company, Blue Cross Blue Shield. That is the only insurance company in the marketplace. So if somebody lives in that county and does not want to have health insurance, that's the option that they select. That actually is a hardship that gets you out of the penalty because there's only one insurance company in your area.
Okay, so let's put this down for people to understand. So I'm going to North Carolina. I only have one choice, and the one choice is Blue Cross Blue Shield. and because I don't like Blue Cross Blue Shield, I don't have health insurance. And so when it comes to tax time where I have to pay the penalty for not having health insurance, I fill out the exception that says, oh, well, there's only one choice in my county in the marketplace, so therefore I'm out of the penalty.
Exactly. That's considered a hardship now under the new tax law. So that's another way that you get out of it.
You know, and when you're listening, if you filled out your own tax return last year and you paid the penalty because you didn't have health insurance, there are a lot of exceptions to penalty that you should have applied for if you qualified for the exception to penalty, and you get the money back.
And actually, when they put that into place, that get out of jail free for one, they made it retroactive. So if it was the case that you paid a penalty on your 16 return, and you find that wherever you're at that you only had one option, then you could go back and amend your 16 and get that penalty back.
But of course, that is not the situation in New York State, because in New York State, with the New York State of Health, there's quite a few options, correct?
There are. You know, it depends on the county. You know, Erie County does have more options than Niagara County. You know, it is based, some of the insurance companies participating do look at the pool, the risk pool that insurance would, and see how many different insurance companies they're going to offer. But right now is the time where those companies are starting to put in what they anticipate they would need for premiums for their budget for 2019. What we're starting to see is that it may be about a 15% increase, 15 to 18%. So
for health insurance.
Exactly. So for 19, those premiums are going to go up again. However, New York is not one of those areas. They're not even in the top 10 as far as increases. The state of Maryland, they're going to go up 35% on average.
Wow.
So, we do have a good marketplace here.
Right. Well, New York State was, foursquare for this. I think they were really thinking it was going to be an individual mandate, that there was going to be one insurance company, and that was the way, one was going to be operated through the federal government.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Okay, what else is coming up as far as changes, Tim?
Well, the other thing is that, some places, and it's not New York, but if you're listening in other states, they have advented and started doing these things. They're calling short-term health insurance. They're a policy where you can buy a policy for 2 to 6 months. So if you have something coming up that's going to be a medical need, you do not have health insurance, you can actually buy the shortened policy. We don't have it in New York. There's about 38 to 43 states.
So you're going to get an appendectomy, and so you have no health insurance, and so you get a short-term policy. And then they take care of your appendectomy.
Yep,
and then you drop it.
Exactly.
That sounds bizarre.
Yeah, because those are the things that they're doing to try to make things affordable for people. Because if they have a medical need, that there's something coming up, they're trying to figure out a way to do that.
But why would the insurer even let you do that?
But is that why the insurance companies are going, like you said, 15% to 33% higher? Because they're coming up with all these other ways. So the good people, I hate to say it, are paying for the bad people.
Yep, exactly. And that the thing is that's starting to...
I got news for you, Chris. The good people always pay for the
I know, but I'm just saying... it seems like almost everybody then could say, well, I'm going to drop health insurance, and when I get sick and I need surgery, I'm going to sign up, have my surgery, and close out when I'm done, when I'm back home.
And what the thing they're starting to do is insurance companies are starting to buy insurance on themselves, that reinsurance or risk-sharing pool, where they're buying insurance to hedge their bets against big claims through these insurance when they have to try to keep premiums down.
Okay, I'm Esther Gulias, the tax lady from EG Tax, 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on the cell phone. We got Chris Fabian here from EG Tax, our vice president, and we have Tim Eliason, our assistant district manager. If you have any tax or questions regarding health insurance, if you're listening and you're saying, I don't even understand what they're saying, give us a call. Tim will help you. Stop in at the office. There's no charge for the help. And the other thing is, you also deal with the seniors that are moving towards, they're kind of having to dog paddle while they're getting their Medicare, Medicare,
yep,
right?
Exactly.
And the also getting their supplemental health insurance.
Exactly.
Right?
And that's an important part of it because, they get
People
that part.
People don't know where to go for that.
Well, and, as I told somebody the other day, we're trying to make this more of a horizontal so that you see all the options. A lot of times they may meet with one or two people that are affiliated with a certain carrier, and that's the only options they hear. They don't hear what there is across the board. They might find something that fits them better.
In other words, let's. So what you're saying, Tim, is when somebody comes in to us, we say, soup to nuts. You can make your choice from A to Z based upon your need, right?
Exactly.
Not just we only carry A, we only carry B, we only carry C. We work with all of these different carriers. So you looking for that supplemental insurance to kind of dovetail with your Medicare. That's something that you'll help people with too.
Yep, exactly. It's not, you shouldn't just be buying off the rack and say it fits just as good as it could. You know, you need to have somebody that's going to tailor that fit to make it fit you just right.
All right, I'm Esther Golias, the tax lady from EG Tax. We're going to take a short break and we'll be back with your calls on the other side. I'm Esther Golias, the tax lady. Now there's a swinging song, Frank.
We're going to do your taxes, and we're going to do it fast.
That's right, and we're going to get you the health insurance. Anyway, if you got any questions regarding health insurance, taxes, upcoming tax law changes, you don't have the money to pay the IRS, getting bills from New York State or the federal government, give us a call, 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on the cell phone.
I just want to say, you know, Tim is one of our summer series guests.
Right.
And with our summer series guests come September, we're going to put everybody together in a seminar, in a breakout session. So if you're too embarrassed to call on the radio, oh my God, my friends are going to know my voice, and Tim will be one of our guests. You can come up to him, which would be perfect timing.
You can also
call him during the week.
You can text us a message too, right?
Yep.
Okay, let's go to the phones that we got Sue. Hi, Sue. How can we help you, my dear?
Hi, Esther. I'm not sure if this is a tax question or...
That's okay, whatever you got.
I heard you talking about Medicaid and Medicare, and I got to thinking, I have a daughter who's disabled, and she currently receives my Social Security, and she also, because of a disability, qualifies for Medicare. She's well taken care of. And by the way, Chris, you were wonderful in helping with her trust issues. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
We have she has a boyfriend who doesn't have health insurance, and has always been. He's also cognitively delayed and disabled. I was wondering if I could adopt him and have him qualify for Medicare through adoption by becoming my dependent also.
Well, I don't know. Okay, but here's the thing. Where's his parents?
They're not as active and proactive in looking into their future as I am.
Okay, but the thing is, they would have to give up their parental rights. You know, I mean, that would be the first thing.
Yep.
And just because he became your, if he did become your child, doesn't mean that he would necessarily qualify for Medicaid.
No, because
because everybody stands on their own. So I don't know if you'd be. But the thing is, Sue, does he have no income?
He actually is part of the program that you were talking about, where you can hire someone that you know to be your attendant.
Okay, but does he have any income?
Yes, minimum income under $8,000.
All right, so he's going to qualify for Medicaid. So he gets Medicaid anyway.
Right, but I'm looking to get him on Medicare.
That would be individual to his disability that he would have to, is he receiving Social Security disability?
No, not at all.
Why?
I would call it negligence, but then...
How old is he, Sue?
Opinion. In his 40s.
Okay, so why is it that we couldn't set him up? Have you gone to an attorney? And to see if he could qualify for Medicare? I mean, for Social Security disability?
No, we have not.
I mean, why not just take him down? There's several attorneys that we work with. Dennis Kitchen, Jeff Katz. What I'd suggest you do is go see an attorney, see if you can't get him to get the Social Security disability yourself, just as an advocate for him. And then the other thing is, so he does have Medicare, right?
Medicaid.
Medicaid. Has Medicaid.
He has Medicaid. So if he gets Social Security disability and Medicaid, he'd be all set, right?
Yep, and then the dominoes will start to fall
Right.
because once he's on that Social Security disability, then the Medicare will be in there. He'll probably still be Medicaid eligible.
As an advocate, I'd take him to see an attorney, and then you can obviously show that he has learning disabilities, and I can't believe that he wouldn't qualify for Social Security disability.
Thank you so much.
All right, so you know where to call, because we'll help you, okay?
I will call your office Monday and get those.
All right, thank you very much. Thanks for calling.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye. That's wonderful. I mean, sometimes, parents, maybe they lived with him having this special situation. They don't realize that there are other programs out there. And so if she knowing kind of the system, she might be able to help him where his parents wouldn't be able to.
Right.
And, and that's the thing, making that call to us because of our team that Chris is talking about that we'll probably have together in September, and the people that we have contacts work that we use as a network, we're going to be able to help them find that answer. I mean, that's what we're doing.
And that's one thing that we do. We don't kind of take no for an answer. We just say, wait, this doesn't make sense. Sometimes it's just digging that hole until you hit water.
Right. And, what I tell my clients sometimes is the worst thing they could say when you ask a question is no.
Right.
But if you don't ask, they're not going to call you up and say, hey, you know what? You are eligible for this.
That's exactly
you
right.
have to step forward
That's
first.
Exactly right. Okay, let's go back to the phones. We got Carol from Derby. Hi, Carol.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How can we help you?
I retired at 70 years ago, and
Okay.
an expensive retirement counselor had told me to stay with Independent Health, which she said was the Cadillac of insurances. And my question is that I'm afraid that may not be enough. If I get sick, I'm in good health now, and I really don't know what my options are. She told me just to stick with Independent Health, and that's all I have.
Is that Independent Health through a Medicare policy, or is that something that you still have through your former employer?
It's through my former employer, but I think it's somehow it may have been switched over. It's not exactly the same that I had when I was working.
May I ask how much you're paying for it, Carol?
I can't tell you off the top of my head. It's expensive.
Like, give me is it $1,000 a month, $500 a month?
No, it's a maybe $280 a month.
Okay, that would be very expensive, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and that's again, with the different policies that are out there and the options that present itself. Sometimes somebody will take a Medicare policy because they find out that they have no copay to go see their primary doctor, which sounds great. But if there's somebody that is somewhat healthy and maybe only sees that primary care physician maybe once or twice a year, then it doesn't make any sense because now they're paying an extra premium just to not pay when they go see the doctor that one time. So there may be options out there that would fit your needs, would be tailored to what your needs are medically, both present and in the future, and would be more cost effective for you.
Okay, what I suggest you do, Carol, is give Tim a call during the week. He sits down, he's got this big dashboard of all the insurance companies and all the things that they provide and their costs, and you can just sit there like going to a buffet and pick out what best fits your situation.
Well, every time I hear you talk about this, I've been meaning to call. So this was the day, and I will give a call during.
There you go, Carol.
Yep, we'll do a little inventory of what your medical needs are and find what that inventory, what your fit would be.
All right, thanks, Carol. Thanks for calling. I'm Master Goliath, the tax lady from EG Tax, 8030930. 8030930, star 930 cell phone. I can see you want to say something.
I was going to say, a lot of people think, well, they don't even know they picked a plan. This is what this person said. This is it. This is your Independent Health.
Right.
But Tim, you could answer this. Independent Health probably has 70 different plans?
Yeah, there's a bunch of different options. And again, I use the analogy of, that buying off the rack. yeah, this one looks good. Yeah, it fits just about right. I'm comfortable in it. Well, that's not necessarily what should be done. You got to, even within an insurance company, in all the different plans that they offer, hey, if I take a step up or take a step back, this one really works well with what my needs are and also fits my budget.
But it's interesting because I just had a taxpayer call me the other day, and they had just gotten a bill that we were talking about something, and they said they'd just gotten a bill for like $2,500 because they had tests done at all different kind of blood tests. So I said, well, did you call them? And they said, oh my gosh, I can't believe how expensive this is. They were complaining about their health insurance. I said, did you even tell this business that did all your testing that you have health insurance? And they said, no. And I said, well, maybe you should do that. They got an adjusted bill of $5.
Yeah.
I mean, the medical thing, you really have to have help with it.
You got to be your own advocate.
I'm going to say something. I had a client come in during the week, and Tim even came in and talked to them. They were traveling, and they got rear-ended by a semi-truck.
Oh.
So they didn't know the state laws. And they said, well, I have animals in my car. What's going to happen to the animals? And the emergency wrote it. They said, we don't know. They said, well, we're okay. We're going to go down to our end site. But what happened, because they refused to go to the hospital, the insurance companies refused to pay it. So they're in debt $20,000.
Because they took care of their pets for them, right?
Right? Because they took care of their own pets, and they were worried about their pets going to a pound or going somewhere. And you should know, wherever you're traveling, wherever you're driving through, find out what the laws are. I hate to say it, but that's a huge...
But who has the time to say, I'm going to research every state in the United States? But
these people make this commute. They're snowbirds, so they make the commute twice a year. And Frank's given us the signal to...
I know, we got to shut up. Anyway, I'm Esther Gullias, the tax lady from EG Tax. You need the best tax help, financial help, help with your insurance. Give us a call, 632-7886. Visit our website at egtax.com. And let's hope it turns warm next week. Until next week, I'm Esther Gullias with Chris Fabian and Tim Alliances. Have a great week. Bye-bye. Happy Mother's Day!